Angela, I'm so excited to have you on, so I have to kick it off with you. And let me ask you, do you think there's too much, or is there a risk in focusing too much attention on Marjorie Taylor Greene, given the wide breadth of problems that we've seen Republicans introduce to society in recent years, especially?
Tiff, that's a profound question. And I would actually say yes. We are spending a lot of time focusing on this woman who, as you said, is emblematic of uniting with crazy. And I think that our larger problem is we have a foundational issue in this country, and that it expands far beyond party. It pervades every corporation. It is in every system of government, from local to state to federal. And the reality of it is there is no unity without first being honest. And we can't be honest because half of the country subscribes to Donald Trump's rhetoric around this 1776 commission, which, as you know, was dropped on Martin Luther King Day. So when you have people who will deny history as it was, the ugly truths, the past of America, the present of America, and what will become the future of America if we are not very, very clear about all that it is, if I hear one more person say, this is not who we are, it is exactly who half of us are. And before we can really move forward, we have to acknowledge the fact and be honest about the fact that that is indeed the truth.
I completely agree. A lot of this stuff is as American as apple pie and as old as the Battle of Jamestown. So to Angela's point, Michael, I want to turn to you, because it's not the party, it's the policies. Since the Republicans have had control, they have introduced policy after policy that is damaging to people who look like you and me. You and I have talked about this before, because I asked you, I don't know how to unify with these people. How do I meet a bigot in the middle? So as this party continues to introduce voter suppression bills, as they continue to perpetuate rhetoric, as they continue to be an apologist and give a wink and a nod to these tiki torch marchers, like Charlottesville type people, how are we supposed to move forward as a country with those people still having significant power at state legislatures and even in the federal government?
Well, the last part of your question is your answer. They still hold significant power in wide swaths of the country. There's no doubt about that. Look, this is a battle. There's a battle over ideas. It goes to a lot of what Angela just said about denying history, denying the narrative of this country, creating an America that never existed, quite honestly. It was never about white picket fences. These are the same people who ignore the white poor even in their own midst. So there is this sense of an America that they have idealized. So how do you deal with it? Well, you deal with it the way we're starting to deal with it. You have to confront it head on. I agree we've wasted a lot of energy on Taylor Greene, but it is necessary energy, because if you do not stop it cold in its tracks, it will continue to permeate, and those policies will only expand. What we saw happen in Georgia was not an accident. It was deliberate, right? And it was born out of the deliberate efforts of those who wanted to suppress the votes of Black peoples. Stacey Abrams said, no, that ain't happening. And she systematically took the system down, and she pushed back against it, and she organized against it, and she defeated it. I mean, that's the course. I mean, it is part of our own history. We've watched the marches and we've heard the speeches, but at some point it requires the level of action and engagement that we saw that turned a state blue, that I can tell you very frankly, the Republicans never saw coming. That was not on their reality scope. And so we need to change their reality. And I say that as someone who's tried to do it inside the party, now doing it inside and outside the party, but it has to be done. Not every Republican is like that QAnon nut, trust me, right? But we have to create a pathway for those folks to get on and join us in this effort, because right now they're overwhelmed inside the party. And that sounds crazy, but I think we can see how and why that's happened. And we've seen how 74 million Americans have bought into something that they know now is a bad bill of goods.
Well, let me give a little pushback on that, Michael, because you're saying Republicans didn't see Georgia coming. I beg to differ. I think they very much saw it coming. This is why Brian Kemp kept introducing voter suppression bills all across Georgia, and particularly in the South, in the Bible Belt of the country. You're also saying we have to provide an off-ramp. I'm not saying that doesn't need to happen. I'm saying that's not my ministry. Those are not the people who I want to create an off-ramp.
That's not your ministry. That's not your ministry. That's not your ministry, Tiffany. But you're not the only minister, okay?
Exactly. You are as a minister for. I think you're affiliated with the Lincoln Project, and so for folks like that, and I wouldn't apply this to you, but I think even for the Lincoln Project people. I appreciate the effort that they're making, but I'm also reminded that the great ads they're cutting now, they cut against Obama in 2008 and 2009. So forgive me if I'm a little hesitant to ally with folks who were once my enemy. I don't know if the enemy of my enemy is my friend now that we have Democrats in office. So as a conservative, I think a sensible conservative, what do you say to folks like me who are side-eyeing some of these efforts and some of these 11th hour allies?
Well, you can side-eye them all you want, but if you continue to side-eye them when someone is offering the opportunity to work with you because we now have the common cause of our country and our democracy, you're talking about old political battles. That's not about whether or not the Constitution should still stand. That's about whether or not we have Obamacare. I was on the other side of that debate, and I've said to my Democratic friends and progressives like you and Angela and others, I look forward to getting back into the ring with you on healthcare, on the economy, on the environment. Let's have these public debates, but that's not where we are. We're about the deconstruction of our country, all right? So this isn't about any of the people of color on this screen. This is about all of us. This is not about a particular policy. So the fact that, some of the folks on my side were running ads against Obama in 2008, and they're now in a line with you now, ask yourself, what are they aligned with you over and why? And I will accept that opportunity.
So you and I are going to argue some more on your podcast later this month. So I'm looking forward to it.